Welcome to this demo of CLARiiON MirrorView Site Recovery add-in for VMware Site Recovery Manager. A basic Site Recovery Manager configuration consists of two sites with one or more ESX servers in each site and one or more CLARiiON arrays in each site. MirrorView S is used to replicate data between the CLARiiON arrays in the two sites. Before a failover occurs, the protected VM is running at Site 1. The protected VM's LUNs are replicated by MirrorView at the second site. They're read-write at the primary site and unavailable at the secondary. When a failover occurs, SRM invokes the CLARiiON plugin to promote the secondary LUN images and make them read-write available to the secondary server. Once the LUNs are available to the ESX server at the second site, SRM completes the recovery process by restarting the protected VM on the secondary server. Now let's see what this looks like viewed from Virtual Console at the two servers. Here is a view of an ESX server running at our primary site. We have one virtual machine set up, running on storage replicated to a second backup site. Now let's drill down into the setup a bit. As you can see, we have both the local or primary site and the paired or secondary site configured. Now let's take a look at the array configuration. Here's the local CLARiiON array at our primary site. As you can see, it is managed by the SRM plugin, and we've already entered all of the access credentials to allow the plugin to manage the array. The array has been discovered, and so we also have all of the array ID information. Similarly, we also have a view of the secondary CLARiiON array at the paired site with its access information and all the IDs discovered. We actually have two LUN groups defined for this experiment. The first LUN group is a spanning group that contains two LUNs, each mirrored to the paired array at the secondary site, and the second LUN group has a single LUN, also mirrored to the paired array. Now let's take a look at our protection group configuration. We have one protection group defined. Here we see our two data stores and the VM associated with them, and the data store where we'll store the files for the virtual machines in the protection group, and finally the information on the VM that we are protecting. Now let's look over at the secondary site. Here's the view from the ESX server at the secondary site. If we look at the site recovery properties for this site, we see that we actually have a mirror image view from what we had at the primary site. In this case, the local site is the secondary server, and the paired site is the primary server. Now we should look at the recovery plan for this server. The recovery plan lists the set of steps that will be executed by SRM to fail a VM from the server on the primary site to the server at the secondary site. We can test this, or we can run it, forcing a failover. Let's run this. Here's our warnings, and we are going to go forward and run the recovery plan. Since the primary site is still up, the first step is to shut down the virtual machines at the primary site. The virtual machine at the primary site has now shut down, and SRM has begun failing over the replication relationship between the sites. In MirrorView's case, this means promoting the secondary images so that they're available to the ESX server at the primary site. Let's take a look at the task window. This gives us a summary of the overall progress of the operation. The disk failover can take up to several minutes because in addition to promoting the disks in CLARiiON, SRM will be rescanning the configuration and rescanning the HBAs in order to pick up any new disk attaches. We'll take the liberty of skipping forward a bit in time to the next stage of this operation. Disk failover and rescan have been completed, and now SRM is bringing up the virtual machine on the ESX server at the secondary site. The virtual machine is now powered on, and failover is complete. We won't be running the rest of the steps because those are only for use in the test scenario. At this point, the virtual machine has been failed over from the primary site to the secondary site.